This is the Black Powder Podcast, coming at you live and direct.
Your salty tears season my life. It's the Black Powder Podcast.
That gunshot was weak. Need to turn that up. Hold on.
Listen, I feel like I feel like it's not time to talk because like with Free you get like a 5-minute intro song on his show. like when it was on, I was like nodding off. I'm like, man, this is taking forever just to get to the show.
I see.
In my defense, though, there's people watching after the intro, so like
Wow.
that might work for us.
Wow.
So,
At any rate, this is the
think
Black
I'm trying
Powder
to Marcus,
Podcast.
to be honest with you, because this is Marcus's.
Yeah, I'm
show.
not. I thought I was immune from the insults.
Why?
And you know, I
We don't see race.
Well,
You're
I said,
Hates every show equally.
yeah. This is the Black Powder Podcast, the only real libertarian podcast that has ever existed. I don't know if anybody knows that or not,
That
but
seems
you're
true.
learning that tonight. And I am Marcus Matthews, the only real libertarian. And tonight, I want to, you know what? We forgot to put
You didn't put it backstage.
Lars backstage.
He's
'cause
just
you guys-
Hey, here I am. Ta-da!
Surprise!
Surprise!
Yes, Lars is just us. Like,
Yeah. Eric Parker isn't here today, so that threw me off. But instead of Eric Parker, we have another Florida man.
the prettier
guest
version of Eric
hosting.
Parker.
This is part of my DEI program to make right what Black people have done to white people over the many centuries here in America. So without further ado, I want to introduce our guest host tonight, Free.
No
up, y'all?
applause. There's
What's up? Did Tub just cancel the applause? Is that what happened there?
Drop that.
Tub knows one button on his iPad, and it's the cancel.
That's all I got. Is what shut him up.
And then we have my other brother in Liberty, also from the great state of Florida, my guy Tub.
Hey, we're doing Florida versus California tonight. And see, Free, there's your problem right there. This is a show of love. Unlike your show where everybody just attacks everybody and hurts their feelings and stuff like that. We care.
I love
If
to hurt
I'm-
your feelings. Does that count?
I'm trying to build an alliance right here.
Yeah.
With you and I versus them, and the first thing you went, bleh. So listen, I will be honorary California. See what you made me do, Free?
Wait.
No, you don't want to be here. The taxes are too high, bro. You don't even associate.
It's not-
Free association with
Don't
California
even
means
joke like
they
that.
just come and take your money. That's what they're like. Oh, you associate with us? Well, we need half your money.
Because they will. I got my.
They'll euthanize you. Don't go there.
I'll get a letter tomorrow. Talk about, hey, I believe you owe us some money.
Oh man.
Gavin Newsom's on your rear end, Tub. And
Tub will get a letter that says, "Welcome to California. Have you considered assisted suicide?" Like that'll be
I
right on the
have.
letterhead.
What do you got? What are the options? It's either assisted suicide or be on Free show again. I'm choosing assisted suicide.
yeah.
That's fair. We've lost viewers to that. We've lost.
And without further ado, I want to introduce our guest tonight. One of the greatest libertarians. Wait, that's me. But he is a libertarian.
Greatest?
Greatest.
Yeah,
Greatest.
it's a
It
gradient.
was a Sanford and Son
It's
reference.
a gradient. Yeah,
It's the
no, it's
gradient.
We're
gradient.
all gonna drink Shampipple pretty soon.
That was the classic episode.
That was a classic episode.
One of the greatest libertarian minds that we have going for us in this current day, Mr. Lars Mapstead.
No applause for Lars either, huh? Nothing?
Yeah. What?
There was applause.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
one.
it's interesting. I'm on a show with Free,
Yeah.
and I'm on a show with Marcus, and then
Yeah.
I'm on a show with the guy that hates both of Marcus and Freeze show.
That's
So-
not really an exclusive group, Lars. You could
Yeah.
really
So-
just really go on the internet and find those.
So
two
maybe
people anywhere.
maybe Lars and I are in conjunction with it tonight. Today, Lars and I are on the same team because we
No,
both hate
yeah.
your shows.
But
Now,
unfortunately, we have the real libertarian to set us straight here, so we're good.
Yeah, and that goes to our first question because
Well,
my
dang.
dear friend, how's my favorite libertarian, Marcus? That's me, of course. But I want to ask Lars, of the three people you're speaking with tonight, who is your favorite libertarian and why is it me?
Don't make him hurt y'all's feelings like that.
Well, of course, you're the only real libertarian here. So, I mean, it's a pretty clear choice. I mean, the rest of us haven't received our badge yet because you have to be called not a real libertarian like 300 or 400 times in a row before you get your like merit badge that turns you into a real libertarian. It's kind of yeah. Did you get
Here
that?
I am.
You
If that's
got
the
it?
standard,
You've-
I'm in. I'm
Yeah,
in.
but you haven't been jumped in yet. Like that's a whole process. And
Yeah.
you know, when you said I hate this show, you're just gonna be screing that at the top of your lungs. When you
Tub
get
ran
jumped in.
for office, he gets my vote. Tub ran for office, he gets my vote.
When we get off this show, even like the other night when I did it with both of these shows, I get off and that's what I do. I go cry in the corner and scream at the sky. And I'm like, I hate that show.
That's not special. Every libertarian does that when they come home from work on a regular basis.
Every day.
Every day.
Here's how I'll make the standard of who Lars likes the most out of this. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
Has he bought you lunch?
Damn it, Lars, we have been in the same room a couple times together,
Yeah,
but it was
That's true. That's
He
true.
subscribes to me. He subscribes to me.
That's
Did
true.
he
Well,
buy
yeah.
you? Did he? That's a way of saying here's a few bucks. Just leave me alone. He's
I
that.
eat a lot of ramen. Lars has bought me a lot of ramen. So.
There you go. There you go.
well, Lars has to do his charity work like I'm doing my charity work by having you two on here.
In fairness, you know what happened? We were sitting there, and I just ordered my food, and it got there, and Lars, this is no lie.
And then he
this is what
does this thing like
He does.
I can't find my wallet.
So we were sitting there, and Lars, no lie, Lars looks over to his left, my right, and he goes, "Isn't that your plane right there?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "They're boarding." I'm like, "Oh, dang, I gotta go." and I'm like, "I got paid for it." And he's like, "Just go. I got it. And that was a dang fine pulled pork burger. I'm not burger, but sandwich, which I usually don't like. It was pretty dang good though. And
All
it might
up
have
for
been good
biz
because it was paid for by Lars Mapstead.
Tub took
all
out
up
his
for business.
coin purse. Tub took out his coin purse.
Going
and
out
was like,
nickels and dimes.
one coin at a time. And Lars is like, "Just get out of here. I'll
Dude, I can't be seen with this.
I'll buy your vegan burger." And
Yeah.
oh,
Why did Tubbs pennies have buffaloes on them? Or nickels?
See,
Boomer.
you're getting so close to the joke today. You're getting right out of here. You're right there with it. All right, what are we?
all of his coins had the same president because he sold.
There's
Yes.
like that one.
There's
All right, I want to
not-
let it be known.
Washington.
I am the youngest person on here.
Oof.
Horse
Ouch.
plop. Horse
So
plop.
keep talking. Y'all keep talking. You realize Lars isn't getting in on this game.
That explains why you're
Yeah.
20% of the size of the rest of us. That explains a lot.
Well, yeah,
You'll
people
hit
were
your-
smaller
you'll hit your
back in
growth
the.
spurt.
At any rate, I want to today we're not doing candidate or any of that type of stuff. What we're doing is we're talking about what's currently trending in a lot of communities around America, which are data centers, flock cameras, and AI and its effect on the populace and whatnot. And I honestly couldn't think of a better person to have on for that discussion than one of my fellow tech bros from the fourth largest economy in the world, Lars Mapstead. So we're gonna start off. Yeah,
Hang on, kid.
Yeah.
You guys are not tech bros.
We're
You
tech
go
bros.
in and plug in the Ethernet cable into the back of the modem. Okay, you are not.
you said
tech
modem.
bro.
We don't even use modems anymore, but you're kind
He
of right.
replaces the toner in Tubbs' fax machine. That's what he does.
Yes.
That may be.
From the show notes. All right, I'm sorry. Get back to where you got.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell
so-
you this. My fear was when you said, "Hey, tonight we're not doing Canada stuff." My fear was you were getting ready to say, "Tonight we're doing Lars," and I thought that's what you were going to say. And I'm like, "No, we are not doing that. We are having Lars on the show. Okay. Now,
Well, let's not close any doors just yet. All right. So,
Lars, close that door. Close the door.
I gotta go.
Yes. We are taking off 200 points for Marcus admitting that he's a homosexual. So
I didn't admit anything.
I didn't admit it. He says I didn't admit it. He didn't
going south quick here, fellas.
How is Tub the worst on this show right now? You have me on, and Tub is the worst on the show. This is shocking. This is shocking.
Week. It's every week.
He's trying to up his game.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Shock job.
So with that being said, on the subject matter, I'm going to pass the mic to Free and let him get busy with his first question for our dear friend Lars.
So, all right. So the big debate with data centers is these local communities shell out all this money. It doesn't seem like the local people have any control over it. The state might be kicking in money. The federal government might be kicking in money. What do you see as the root cause of all of these problems, and is there a solution?
Well, first let's address the real concerns and the real fears people have, right? Which is, let's face it, no one wants a giant building, built right next to them that is, pumping out steam and making noise and causing problems to their backyard. Like nobody wants that. And there are certainly data centers going in around the country where the local government is being a complete jerk face. They're trying eminent domain to take people's property to put up a data center. Obviously, that's completely wrong. This should be a free market thing, not a government steal your land and give it to some other corporation thing. That libertarians are totally against that. And I think that the concerns people have in a lot of sense are really valid. But I think that there is a huge propaganda machine turning right now that is radiating fear and is drumming up this sort of fear of the thing. And they're really good at spreading this propaganda. And I think that the people that are really pushing the narrative that all data centers are bad is basically the unions. This is my hot take on it, and you can agree or disagree. But the unions see AI as a possible end to their grasp on power. That if labor is needed less, which it may potentially be under AI, then the unions are going to have less dues. Those less dues, we know who the unions, basically donate to, which is the Democratic Party. And so they've gone to the Democratic Party and said, hey, look, if you keep letting data centers go, we're going to lose our power base and our funding mechanism to fund you guys, and you're going to start losing elections. So we need to basically put out some kind of thing that says this, this is a horrible, horrible thing, and you should, we should banish and abolish all data centers. Well, there's a fundamental flaw with that, and that is that right now everybody watching this stream is using a data center. Everybody who's watched Netflix for the past 20 years is using a data center. Everybody who sends email, everybody who has a Netflix, everybody who uses Instagram or Facebook or any social media or basically does anything, opens their phone and looks at any app, you're using a data center and you've been using it for 20 years or more. Like the first data center I went into was in 1994. And, most people didn't even know what the internet was, but there was data centers back then. I had servers and data centers. And no one has complained about data centers until the last year or two or three. Really, the last year is really when it's really, really gotten, out of control. And I think that it's basically a narrative from the left to protect their donor base. And they've rolled out the usual suspects, which is it's destroying the environment. It's, raising all your prices. And that is true. In some areas, it is raising electricity prices, and in some areas, it's using groundwater that probably shouldn't be. And so there is certainly some harm being done, but that's probably like 1% of all data center use. And so, I think I'll just leave it with this. I think that individual towns and individual people should be able to decide for themselves whether they want a data center in their backyard. And then I kind of looked at power plants, right? When power plants were first being built, no one wanted a power plant next to their house, right? But we needed a power plant somewhere, and so they built power plants, and some people were affected, and that power plants use water. They do the same thing as data centers. They produce steam. They make noise. They kind of have a lot of the same issues, right? But they got to go somewhere, and so that's sort of the hot take on it. There is problems with it, but I also think that it's vastly overblown, overhyped, and propagandized.
Yo, hold on.
Hit the buttons.
It's the Lars show. It's the all Lars all the time show. Well,
I'm trying not to.
Let me ask a follow-up question while Marcus the man.
While I'm figuring this out.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, this is what he's trying to figure out. He's like, how can I make you 98% of the
there? Leave it there.
No, I'm getting text messages, but go ahead with your follow-up question so we could get to Tub.
Well, so isn't it, you were talking about server farms, and I made a joke on the show the other night about, we're going from family farms to server farms. The question's for Lars, Marcus.
Oh, my bad.
Stop playing with stuff.
Can I talk to Lars?
Fellow tech bro, and he can't even make the screen small.
I don't do this part. To be fair, Terry does this for him. He doesn't even do this.
He doesn't know any of this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not even logged in when I do it. It's just I'm on a flock camera when I do my show.
He's actually AI. He just does it AI. He doesn't even show up anymore.
Well, yeah. Wait. Is it Tub AI?
Yeah, Tub's definitely AI. 100%.
If you're faking this,
Lars, aren't these new data centers way more resource intensive than the old server farms where they might be hosting some GeoCities websites from back in the day, and so these data centers, or at least the ones that are getting the publicity, are way more resource intensive than an Amazon one or whatever. These are just Amazon on steroids, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you have to put this a little bit in perspective, because currently AI data centers account for about 15% of all data centers. The number one user of data centers currently is YouTube, and it uses something like 16% of all data center usage, right? And then you have Amazon, Netflix, Facebook with Instagram and the various things, TikTok. All these things account for 85% of all data center usage. So yes, does data centers use more power per square foot than other data centers? Yes, it does. Even if AI grows dramatically as we expect it to do, they don't expect it to be, even by 2030, even 30% of all data centers. So, to be complaining about data centers now and not having complained about them for the last, 40 years or whatever it is sort of disingenuous. And I asked, where does all this, fear mongering come from? And I can see where it comes from. It's coming from Bernie Sanders and AOC and Elizabeth Warren, and they're out there beating the drum about how bad this is. And the flock is eating it up. So it does use more. But then there's another interesting point too, which is that a lot of people are talking about the water usage, right? The water usage of what's going on. And I wish I had I can't put up a little thing, but the number one water usage in America is obviously agriculture. Lawns are just Americans' lawns are incredibly usage of water. And in the chart, there's the lawns are 15 times the usage of AI using water, right? Almonds eat up tons of water. And then there's another point to be made, which is one paper plant that, you know, like manufactures toilet paper or you know, paper towels, that sort of thing. They use up almost more water than most of the data centers combined. And and though data center water is basically, it's either in a closed system, and so it evaporates into a chamber and then like recirculates, or it's in an evaporative type system where it just is like a power plant and steam comes off of the thing. But you know, you'll listen to the people and they're like, oh, it's all these chemicals, there's all this bad stuff that's destroying the environment. And it's like they're wiping their butts with TP and cleaning their counters with paper towels. That's far more destructive than the AI data center is. But you never hear them like complaining about the evils of the paper mills and we got to shut them all down, because that's ridiculous. Like, we all need paper, right? If they didn't have toilet paper, they would be losing their freaking minds, let me tell you, right? And so this has just become a scapegoat, and I believe that that AI is essentially going to fix a lot of the issues that are going on right now. You guys have been probably following SpaceX a little bit. It's been in the news a lot recently. And one of the big plans there for SpaceX is to, on all these satellites that they're launching on their next big rocket ship, the next big rocket ship is called Starship, and it can launch like 100 times what the current one can do. And so what they're talking about now is creating data centers in space that don't use any water, don't need any regulatory approval, so they can just bypass the whole government. They can give a giant FU bird to Bernie Sanders, AOC, and Elizabeth Warren and the ilk, and they can just do their business in space. And then they won't be taking any water. They won't be like being in anybody's backyard. So to me, the faster we get to that solution, the better, because then everybody will stop bitching, and then everybody just be excited that they can use AI, except for the unions, who will still be pissed off because, you know, whatever. And they'll probably try to do some regulation where you're not allowed to put stuff into space because, you know, the evils of polluting the sky or whatever they'll come up with.
Yeah, let me just push back real quick on the earlier part of what you said. You know, I get the leftist pushback, and it's usually ridiculous, right? But like, there's pushback from our side where we're against eminent domain, we're against government subsidies. Yep. You know, there's a ton of that going on. And also, you know, the ability of local people to say, you know, we don't want the noise and the exhaust and it to be by schools, or, you know, we don't know the after effects of all of the electromagnetic stuff that's going on with these things. You know, so I think there's pushback from a couple of sides, and you know, they're bribing politicians to get them done.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that was why I said that I believe that, you know, people in their community should be able to make the choice of what is going on here. And you know, unfortunately, you know, the way our electoral system works is basically you can't win office unless you're corrupt, right? Like that's basically what it's come down to. Because like, if you have principles and you don't vote with whatever party is in control of the place that you're at, then they'll primary you and get rid of you. You know, that's the Thomas Massey story, right? Like, if you're not voting with them, lock, stock, and barrel, even if you vote 95% with them, they will just primary you and make you go away. And the thing is the donors are basically pushed by the RNC or DNC. They control who's the appointee, you know, the appointed one, right? The anointed one or whatever. And so they're basically buying the politician before the politician even gets into office. And if you get into office and you start being principled, they just get rid of you. So there's literally no way to be in office unless you're corrupt, essentially. I mean, every once in a while, some weird anomaly, black swan event happens and somebody gets in, but they're quickly eliminated. Right? Like,
right. There's the three levels, right? Like, can you get on the ballot? And then once you get on the ballot, can you get elected? And then even in Massey's case, he got elected, but had absolutely no impact because they just put him in the corner and said, you know, go sit in the corner. We're going to give you, you know, you can propose all of the bills that you want to propose.
That's
and,
right.
you know, we're not going to put any of them to committee, let alone ever get to the floor of the House.
Exactly. So the point here is that because politicians are corrupt, it doesn't matter who you vote for in your town. because the people who get elected are corrupt. And so they're beholden to the corporations that elected them, to the donor class, right? And so essentially when the data center bros come in and they want their favor paid back, I mean, just look at who was I looking at before the other day? Ro Khanna, okay? You can go on this place called Open Secrets, and on Open Secrets, it tells you every single corporation that donates money to each individual congressperson or elected official in the FEC, right? So if you look down his list, it's just all tech bros, Google, Amazon, all the bros that build data centers, right? So when they want to build a data center, they're getting leaned on by the donor class and saying, like, you're going to build this thing, like, you owe us, and if you don't do it, we're not donating to you next time, and we'll push to get you primaried to make you go away. And this is the problem with basically all of the way our system is working right now, is it's captured, and the people have very little voice unless they're really we have movements in America that do change things in a big way. But it takes a lot of people and a lot of outrage and a lot of activism to get any movement going, right?
So is there a solution to data centers from a libertarian perspective before space?
Yeah. So, as an example, right now, Microsoft has a really interesting project going on. I think it's in Montana, I want to say, and we've talked about this many times before because the project involves small nuclear reactors, right? SMRs, right? Or small modular reactors, sorry. And so what they did is they went to this town and they said, hey, town, we want to build one of these power plants in your area. But we want you to sign off on it. And they're like, okay, well, what do you get? And I said, well, we're going to build it and you get to sell all the excess power that is generated to other towns around you, and you can use that money for building schools or repairing your roads or doing the whatever. And so the townspeople were like, yeah, we want to do that. And so other towns said, I don't want that in my backyard, but this town said, I do want that in my backyard. So I think that it needs to just be more voluntary. It needs to be more community involvement, that sort of thing. And so now they're like, hey guys, we've got all this extra power. Who needs power? Oh, data centers need power. So now all the data centers are moving into that community area, and they're stoked on it because now they have a group of people to sell all their power to, and they've figured out a way to basically self-contain the water, so there's no usage of water and sort of stuff. So this is the path where I see that we could get things done in a big way. But as an example, right now, I think there's a data center trying to go into Utah. This guy, Mr. Wonderful, the guy on Shark Tank.
Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah, he's trying to put a data center into Utah, and the people in Utah are really up in arms and outraged about this situation.
Well, Utah's on fire, literally on fire.
and so so I think that you should absolutely have a right to say, I don't want stuff in my backyard. Unfortunately, your elected leaders should listen to what the people are saying, right? I mean, that's really the solution. I guess that's the solution. The solution is elect better people, be more principled, and break the Republican and Democratic stranglehold on American politics and on basically the rule keeping, right? If you start really digging into it, you realize that these two private corporations, the RNC and DNC, not only control our elections, they control essentially all the decision-making process for citizens, and then they basically have all the judges in their pocket because they're appointed. So if you want some relief in your town and you're like, hey, I'm going to sue because I see that this data center is doing XYZ bad under the law, and so I want to get relief, and they go to the judge and they're like, hey, I want relief, and the judge is like, sorry, the bros that donated to the people that hired me don't want relief, so I'm just gonna there's no relief for you. I'm sorry, go away. Ruling 6725 against you.
All right, back to you, Marcus.
we got a lot of great comments coming in on the topic, but I want to put this one up because it really touched my heart. 3 amazing libertarians and Tub all on one show. From one of my dearest friends in El Paso, Texas.
Who's what does it say? Who's Ryan Woodcraft? Who's that?
Yeah, he's
Is
one of the best.
I think he's one of them elected officials. Like, I think he's one of those guys. I think he's actually one of the 4 people here. He's the only one that won anything. I think
that makes him not a real libertarian. I mean, I jest. He also, while we're on the Woodcraft, and I want to get to everybody. I may or may not get to everybody because we got to keep it moving.
Then don't use Woodcraft at all.
All right,
volleyball.
So I want to.
Marcus, can you read all of that?
I actually want to make a point on that right there, because I think it's important. Because one of the pushbacks, and maybe Free has this in his questions, and I'm going to preempt it a little bit, but essentially, one of the big pushbacks is, Lars, you can't be for data centers because data centers are all built to spy on us. They're all built for the flock cameras and the data collection, and that's the reason they exist. And therefore, we can't have these things. How can you be libertarian and be for surveillance state? Well, of course I'm not for the freaking surveillance state, right? But the thing is like, if you think about it, first of all, when the government is doing surveillance state, they don't buy a local data center. They have their own data center that they build out on a military base or on government land that is like, they don't have to get a permit. They don't have to go through because they're the government. The government just says like, oh, we've got a data center here. And there's like,
must be nice.
There's no like local jurisdiction that gets to overrun it. Like they just, boom, there it is, and stuff you guys because it's for national security, right? And so I think that's another way of conflating and pulling in a group of people and saying like, we have to oppose the data centers because this is a surveillance state. Well, it's not. I mean, it is, because literally Facebook, TikTok, Netflix, YouTube is collecting all your data all the time and building profiles on you. And all that data is being used by the federal government to basically build a profile on you and keep tabs on you, your X account and all that stuff. Like, if you're engaging with these social media things, you're giving up your privacy. Like,
wait till they hear about the cellular networks, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
You'll be shocked. Yeah.
All right, Tub. You're taking some studious notes there.
Well, I know that you said that when it's your turn, you were going to smack down Lars in this topic. So, see, Lars is doing it too. It's what we do.
Hypothetically.
Right, so I have a number of questions, Lars, and you can.
I'm sorry, there's no time for questions, Tub. Next, moving on. Next contestant.
All right. So what we'll do is because
this is why Lars didn't campaign in the villages. This is exactly why.
Again, the youngest one here, the youngest one on the show.
I have another comment coming in, Tub, for you. So go ahead.
We're shutting off the comment section of the show. All right. So here's the thing. I got a number of questions. You can do short answers if you need to. Okay. All right. So first off, now we already know that there's a ton of these already around, smaller versions that are everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Why the big ones all of a sudden?
So that's an interesting question. The thing is that so you have in the data centers, you have racks of servers, and the server racks have come a long way since the days when I was doing server racks, where you just have a bunch of 5-inch kind of PC boxes that you'd shove into the rack, and then you'd have some cable management system, and then you'd have a router that would like talk to all this stuff. And now these have gotten super sophisticated because of the way AI works. It has to like get the question, and then it has to decide which server to send the question to, and then depending on what the question is, some types of chips can answer the question better than other types of chips, whether it be a GPU, a graphics chip, or a CPU, a central processing unit chip. And so the servers have gotten very sophisticated, and they all need to sort of work in unison. And so they've gotten really big, partly because economy of scale, one, but also because them being physically located next to each other allows them to talk to each other faster, and then therefore get the output that's desired to people. So I think that's a big reason why they've gotten bigger. They also, as been pointed out, they need more cooling because these GPUs run really hot, and so they obviously have to keep them cool, or they just essentially melt. And they work better when they're cooler than when they get hot. So I think that's a couple reasons why, just economies of scale and need to physically co-locate the boxes all together so they can talk to each other.
So shouldn't we be looking in colder places to put them instead of deserts and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yes, I think that's probably a reasonable expectation. But if you're the data center guy that's like your job, you're at Google and your job is to spin up a new data center, right? You're in competition with Amazon and ChatGPT and OpenAI and Anthropic and all these different companies, because everybody is compute starved right now. Like, they're all growing massive, with massive speed. Everybody's, using ChatGPT to make images and videos, and that takes tons of stuff. They're using it to like sort through their emails now, work on their calendar, write their papers, like just on and on. I mean, everybody's using AI, every day. That, at least when I say everybody, like, everybody that's like working in some kind of tech field or even non-tech field. I mean, I know a lot of people that are using AI, pretty much constantly. And even if you think you're not using AI, if you're on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or any of these things, you're using AI. And so they need these data centers in order to serve you up the algorithm of what YouTube video you should watch, or what, reel you're going to get today, or whatever. Like, all that stuff is determined by AI. So
how many of these big units are we going to have? Are we saying that there's going to be one in every city before this? Like, where does this stop?
I think, like, it sounds horrific, but I don't think that there's really that many, like, in per square. Like, if you took all the data centers in America and you put them all in one state, they probably wouldn't even take up one city. Like, the power would take up, it could take up a significant portion, but the actual footprint of the data center is not big enough to really, like, we have, just think about, like, example would be like public storage facilities where you like go and store your stuff. There's probably more public storage buildings in America, square footage, than there is data center.
Especially here in Florida.
I mean, they're just everywhere, right?
So here's the thing. Now, isn't there, because I've seen the videos, and like I said, remember, this is the conversation I want to have, because I don't understand them. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you hear the other side. So you kept hearing the side about how they're going to use it. This is what you said. They're going to spy on us. It's got the environmental issues. All right.
Yeah.
But isn't there really a noise issue with these? Like, I've seen some, and I've heard some of the videos, and they seem pretty loud.
Yeah. I haven't personally been to a new a mega center kind of a thing. So I can't tell you that the noise off of them. The one, I guess many people have gone to Las Vegas, and you go to one of the major hotels in Las Vegas, and if you go outside anywhere near the air conditioning system, you will hear it just being wow, like insane, right? And so I guess if you built a giant casino next to my house and had all those whirring things on it, I'd be pretty pissed off, because that's all I would hear at my house, right? So yeah, it probably has noise, and like I said, no one really wants this in their backyard. But I guess the people in Montana did, because they get economic benefit from it, right? So
it's industrial, right? Like,
that's
anything
right.
Industrial is going to have
That's right.
Industrial blowback from it. Commercial is going to have traffic.
Yeah.
And residential is different, right?
I think that part of it is that so these guys that work for Google that are trying to source where's the next data center going to go, what they're looking for is, where can I go that has low regulations, right, where the government can easily be bought off, right, because I don't want to have to deal with crap. If I start getting crap, I'm just going to leave because I can try to go find another place. Where is there excess power? Okay, because I need a lot of power, and hopefully I can buy it on the cheap. I don't want to go into an area like California where power is 45 cents a kilowatt. I want to go into whatever, Nevada, where power is 20 cents a kilowatt or 15 cents a kilowatt or whatever, right? So it's a business. The business decision-making process forces them to put it in certain areas. And then the other issue is that in the dot-com boom, we essentially laid what they call dark fiber. That was what the whole dot-com boom was about, was Cisco and the networking and the dark fiber, which is basically just means that's where all the networking connections come together. And in the old days, they called them a NOC, a network operating center. And all the phone companies would go into this one building, and that's the original data centers. The original data centers were AT&T, basically, right? And so, and then what happened was they were like, the people like me in the 90s were like, I have a business decision to make. I want to put my computer somewhere that's closest to the internet, like it has the fastest speed and connectivity, right? So hosting at my house on a dial-up modem ain't gonna work, right? So where do I go that has the best connection to the internet, the fastest? Because I want my web page to come up, I want videos to come up. So I'm gonna go to a data center that is co-located in the same one as AT&T, where all the internet cables are literally coming into this building. And so the first data centers were all built on the AT&T basically backbone so they could get to the closest thing. And so one of the things that's happening is you'll see that one of the major places where data centers are going in is Virginia. Okay, that's like one of the main places. Why Virginia? Why do you think Virginia?
Because look how close you are to DC.
And where do you think the best freaking internet is in the entire planet? Right? Virginia is one of the biggest hubs, especially on the East Coast, for where all the internet connectivity goes to. These guys want to be as close to the internet connectivity as they possibly can. And I'm going to bet you anything, one of the reasons why they want to go into Utah and Salt Lake is because there's a major internet cable that goes through there. I'm just making a guess. You guys can Google this. You can ChatGPT it or whatever. But this is just my guess. I could be totally wrong, but my guess is there's a major internet cable that goes through there, and they want to put that thing right on the top of the backbone so that when you go onto your ChatGPT or when you go on, like, do you ever notice, like, we're doing this video right now, right? And 30 years ago, you couldn't do this. This did not freaking exist. We could not do this show right now without a data center. And if we were co-located,
we're doing it now.
If we were co-located,
I'm now against data centers.
If we were co-located in Tubbs' house right there, we would be one frame a second, and everybody would be pissed off and leaving, and the chat would just be like barely moving, and everybody would just leave because we have a
free show.
We only have a 3-second attention span, right? So this is the reasons why the things are there. So
why the sudden push all of a sudden? Why did this all of a sudden become an issue? Like when you said, they've been around forever in one way or another.
Yeah.
So why all of a sudden is this becoming such a hot topic?
I pretty much said what my belief is, and that is that this is a threat to the unions.
Okay, so you're saying that's what's really spearheading this.
I think, and this is the narrative that they came up with. Now, I'm not saying, like, Free brought up a good point, which is like, hey, and so did a person in the chat here, is that, yes, there are spy data centers. There are companies like Palantir and like the flock cameras and like government agencies, the CIA and the FBI have massive data centers, and they put them. Let's see, what's in Virginia? Oh yeah, there's massive military bases in Virginia.
The Pentagon, yeah.
There's some stuff.
And you got that odd-shaped building right there also.
There's some things in Virginia that maybe get good.
Yeah.
So
when you said DC and Utah, I thought you were going to bring up the hotspots for Grindr. I thought that's where you're going.
Yeah,
that's when you get Republicans pissed. But I'm still trying to figure out how that odd-shaped building in Virginia got hit by an airplane.
It did.
It did. Well, at any rate,
all right, Marcus, go ahead and own Lars
no.
now. This is your chance to own Lars.
No, I mean, I was going to play the guy, but I don't think this conversation is going that route. I talked about this.
You got an audio?
Audio.
I thought do you have an audio clip that you were going to play?
No.
Oh, the way you said that, dude, we don't do stuff. You're already struggling with big camera, little camera.
I am.
You ain't ready to put audio clips in here.
At any rate, I was talking to Free about this, and he mentioned a law. I already forgot the law because I was California sobering it up at the time. I like to thank the Supreme Court for allowing me to do that. At any rate, you know, the thing about technology, and I started off in IT as a computer operator on mainframes back in the 90s.
Mainframes, bro. I was doing the punch cards back in the day, bro.
I was a little bit after the punch cards.
Marcus had to go back to school to learn COBOL. Like, that's how old Marcus is.
Oh, wow. Okay. You know, anyway, but as technology progresses, it always gets smaller. Because I remember my first PC, if I threw it at somebody, if I had the strength to throw it at somebody, even if I was in my 20s, it would crush their head. They were that big.
Yeah.
And now you see, like, we have a data center at my job, and when you open the door, it sounds like a airplane about to take off. But eventually, technology is going to catch up. Yeah. You know, I don't know if space is the foundational principle for every single data center.
Yeah.
But what we're going to be left with these monstrosity buildings where, you know, they should still be able to use them and scale down what's in there to whatever the technology brings. But what happens to those communities that get those huge buildings, and then some company decides, you know what, we can consolidate our data center into this place in Utah or Virginia, and we'll still get the same results with less money and less.
Then it becomes a Spirit Halloween store.
Nice. Some one, of the very nice. Very well played. Well played.
Nice job. But Lars, what do you think about, you know? Because I was telling Free, there used to be a JCPenney's down the street from me, and they built this huge store, and now it's empty, and it's been sitting empty for multiple years now.
Yeah. So
that's where Marcus used to get his clothes. So this is a hot topic for him.
And his chain that he's wearing.
So I agree that you're right that things are going to get smaller, more powerful. And that sort of thing. I remember I worked at a computer store at a certain time in my life, working for like, I don't know, $6 an hour, $5 an hour or something like that, selling computer parts. You know, it was like it's called Fry's Electronics. It was Fry's Electronics.
Fry's, yeah. I'm familiar with them.
Okay, so I worked at that, and I remember this guy coming in, and he's like, "Do you have one of these 1 gigabyte hard drives?" And I'm like, yeah, they just came in. And he's like, oh, I gotta have one. And I'm like, I was looking at the price and I'm like, whoa, bro. And it was $1,000 for a 1 gigabyte hard drive. And the thing was like this big, right? And he's like, I don't know how I ever use a whole gigabyte. Like, that's insane. Like, you know how many pictures of, you know, I can put on this thing? That's crazy. Oh, I'm got like my whole library times 400 is going to be on this thing. It's going to be good, right? And you know, as you know, obviously that's gone down, and now you can have like a little stick with 265 gigabytes on it that's like the size of your thumbnail, right? Like the thumb drives and stuff. So yeah, things get smaller, but we've also found more and more uses to fill them up. Like now we're like, oh, that 256 gigabytes ain't enough. I need more because I've got all these videos and all this stuff. And so one of the things that's coming with AI, that, you know, we're just starting to scratch the surface of this stuff. Before the end of this year, one of my goals is to make a 1 hour feature film all produced and built by Lars and AI, basically by myself. And I believe it's going to be very close, if not totally doable by the end of this year. I've already made a few little movies but the amount of time that was needed to put into it was a little bit much. But man, if you look at like just 6 months ago's progress to where we are now, it is absolutely incredible. And so what I'm kind of predicting is, we still have CNN and Fox News and this crap on TV, and there's still people watching this. I don't really understand why anybody's watching this crap, but anyway, they are. But the ability for you to go to your AI and say, look, you know everything about me. You know what interests me. I'm not interested in celebrity news, and I'm not interested in, whatever is going on in Bangladesh or whatever. But I am interested in data centers and AI and science and, finance and this sort of thing and liberty-minded stuff. So just, create me a really awesome news show, curated just for Lars. I want Thomas Massey to deliver the news to me every day. I want Farrah Fawcett to deliver the news to me, whatever you want. And basically, you're going to be able to get on demand exactly what you want when you want it, up to the minute. You're not going to have to wait for the news channel to go do the thing. It's just going to pull all the information from the universe and create this news for you. So now you think about that, and then you think about like, what is the compute power to build an on-demand live video stream for each and every individual person on the planet that wants one? We're going to use all that data center and a lot more. And so I don't see any end to more and more of this kind of stuff. I just think that we have to come up with better ways of dealing with it. One of the interesting solution that I think China has come up with, China or Singapore, one of the Asian countries has come up with, they're putting the data center into the sea. Okay. They put it underground in the sea, and then they use the cooling water of the sea. And it's not pollutive. It just is for cooling. And they're able to, but it is more corrosive because it's salt water, right? And they're also not having to deal with the noise because it's not noisy, and they're not having to deal with regulation because there's no people living under the sea, right? I'm sure there'll be some environmentalists that say it harms the fish or does the thing, and that stuff should be addressed because we shouldn't be harming the environment just because we need to make a buck. But I believe that there's going to be solutions to these problems, and that the kind of outrage that's out there is far overhyped to the actual problem that exists. That's just my personal opinion.
All right. So
I just want to say real quick, we talked about JC Penney, and I wanted to say that Marcus's rap name was MC Penny.
Moving along.
You just stopped the show for that one. For that, that's what
I got it in. Nobody was talking. You got it in.
I mean, it was funny,
Listen,
but
I got it in.
This is coming from the guy who, whatever room he set up in, looks like the modern day version of when Greg Brady turned the office to a crack room. That's the modern day version of that right there.
I have a sponsor.
Not on this show, you don't.
We do have a lot of woodcraft
flag behind you.
There's
we have there's a couple of woodcraft comments that I'm just gonna not get into just yet. But Tub, go ahead with your question.
Yeah.
So now I'm the old TRS-80 guy. Okay, I remember my dad got one of those. Like, what is this thing? This thing's amazing.
Oh wait, you said you were older than us, and I think
I'm
that
younger.
just
Younger than
us. I think that I'm sorry, but if you had a TSR-80, you're older than all of us.
The trash 80.
Man, you just outed yourself. You just came straight out of the. Yep, you're done. You're done. We're done. We're done. You're old.
My dad.
When do you collect Social Security? Like in 5 minutes or something like that? Like what's
his check's on the way? It's in the mail.
He moved into the assisted living facility.
When do you get your government check?
My dad, who is the same age as some of y'all right there, he had a TRS-80. Okay, now with this, let me ask you. So you talk about all the things that these done in the space that they need. So let's take one of these big old data centers.
Yeah.
How much stuff can that handle? When you're I'm trying to make this make sense that, okay, so how many of these, are we going to need? What can one of them do and what can they handle?
Let's just see. we'll ask AI how many data. First of all,
there you go.
Yeah, we got to ask the AI. The number of data centers that there is not as many as I think most people think. It says that there's 4,200 data centers in America. So that's 100 data centers, a state, essentially, or 80 or whatever it is. And then the hyperscalers, let's see, there are currently 1,300 hyperscalers globally, and we'll assume that America is at least half or more of those. So we're probably 1,000 hyperscalers, 1,000 like AI data centers, basically.
They're all out there already, so they're there. This is not like a new issue. This is not.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. I mean, they're still. I think the issue is that they got all the places that it was easy to build that was out of people's sight. Right. And was like, no one gave a crap. And now they're like, oh, now we got to build one, and we've kind of run out of all the easy places. So now we have to start finding new places to put them. And I think that's where the friction is coming, because it's like, wait a minute, I don't want this thing in my backyard. And I'll give you a good example. So in my community here, we had a big power plant that was right on the ocean, and what they did is they brought in these battery storage systems, like the big lithium ion battery storage systems to store power and like smooth the grid out, kind of a thing. And it caught fire, and it burned for like 3 weeks of toxic chemicals, and like all the surrounding plants got contaminated, and there's strawberry fields, and there's a wildlife preserve near, and I mean, it just destroyed everything. And so the people around here got, just completely outraged. And then they tried to put in another one of these battery centers on another part of town. And everybody's like, nope, we're not having any of that. And the outrage was so high that the local elected officials, got that outrage and like ran with it. And so now no battery storage plants are going to be approved in my county probably forever. And so I think that we should have that ability as a community to basically say, I don't want this crap in my backyard. I mean, I think that's reasonable.
Okay, so you mentioned about how you believe that they want to put that one in Utah for that reason, that it's closest to the source. Now, if they put that there, does it make any difference where I'm located? If I want to use that, do they work better if they're closer to where I am?
Yes, of course. Centers? Yes, because there's latency between you and other things. So that's why they want them spread out around the country. If they were all just on the East Coast, even though it's quick, it might be a couple milliseconds, or it won't be a second, but it might be 10 milliseconds slower. And there's a lot of reason why a 10 millisecond slower can daisy chain across many networks because every time it has to go down the pipe, it loses a little bit of its integrity, just like any kind of, like when you're pushing electricity down a line, it gets weaker and weaker, and eventually it just stops working because you've pushed it too far. And it's the same
like
thing with
the algorithmic stock trading, right? Like
that's right.
That's close to Wall Street.
They literally bought into the building. Those guys all bought the buildings right around Wall Street, and that's why all those buildings are data centers. Because the millisecond difference between you getting the data and being able to trade on the stock and the guy that's in California, he's out. Like, he's peace out, right? Like, you got to be co-located in the building.
Can these things be done on a small scale in such a way that people could just have them in their houses?
Yes, 100%. So
they've put that out there. They want to like attach them to houses and have like these mini data centers attached to your house, especially places where they can do solar or other ways of doing it.
Yeah, I saw one company's solution is they are giving you battery packs. Like, how everybody has battery packs on the side of their house now to distribute power. So they're giving you the battery pack for free, and on the battery pack is a mini data center, right? And that mini data center is like, they all combine in together to be one big data center, but it's not as efficient as a giant, warehouse full of stuff. But you could do that.
If they had 6 and 3 square blocks, then it would be. Now, how big are we talking about these things that you're talking about? Like, how big are they?
like not the size, like a 5 foot by 2 foot, like the size of a like an outdoor air conditioner kind of thing. Like
okay, and then that would improve everybody's use of it in the area.
I think it's a novel idea that is not really going to take off, because you really need these things all to be next to each other for them to talk to each other and be able to do things. But what I will talk about is that, how one thing that I see how AI might change a lot, and the data center thing might actually change quite a bit, is we have what's called open source AI, essentially, and there's a lot of it coming out of China. You've heard of DeepSeek, maybe you've heard of Meta had one called Llama. There's all these open source models, which basically means anybody can download it and run it on, if they have a powerful enough machine, they can run it at their house. And the interesting thing about open source models is they work just like going to ChatGPT or whatever, but they're not as smart. They're like a year ago smart level, right? But the cost is basically free, as long as you have the machine and the power, and you have to pay for the power that it uses or whatever. I have several of them on my desk right now running different AIs. And the kind of cool thing about that is it's not centralized. So when you talk to your AI on your local machine, none of the data goes to the cloud, and the government can't snoop on unless they're hacking into your machine, which they probably are anyway. But so the thing is just has that 1 gigabyte hard drive seem like insane back then. I used to get a new PC every year because the stuff in the PC just got so much better that you needed a new one to do all the new cool stuff. But nowadays, the computer is so overblown of what I could possibly use it for my video conferencing. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take a lot of compute power to do what we're doing right here. And so you reach a certain point, and the same with like iPhones and Google phones. The upgrade cycle is slowing down because we've reached the point where we're not even using the full potential of the thing that we bought. So why buy an even more powerful one? And so the LLMs, I think, within the next year are going to get to the point where most people won't need to use more than the open source. That's
already right.
Right. And so I think a lot of people are going to be doing open source. The next round of Apple phones that are coming out have new chips in it that can run these LLMs locally on the phone. So you're literally going to be running AI on your phone. You're not going to need to go to a data center unless you're asking it for some really heady question that needs to really, like I'm a scientist and I want to compute proteins to, fold proteins to make a new drug. Well, then you're going to go and use the frontier model. But at some point, we're all going to be using local LLMs, and we're not even going to be going to the data center. And so that might be a way that the data centers get reduced in the future. But
Aaron Day's phones have that now. Like, he just released the phone that has that now. So
you can do it.
You're keeping it all local and private, and you're not sharing your proprietary information with anybody else, and it's all on your phone.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say this. I'm sorry, Lars, but for those of you who are Back to the Future buffs, the Twin Pines Mall, which I grew up down the street from, which is not too far away from me right now, and it's currently a defunct mall, is being zoned for a data center. Mm-hmm. And it's right in the middle of the San Gabriel Valley here in the fourth largest economy in the world, Southern California. And people are up in arms. And I don't mean to rehash this, but, it's already been a failure as an economic model, as a mall in the 21st century. And now they want to turn it into a data center. And one of the most, Southern California is effectively a desert. The only reason LA exists is because it takes water from Northern California. There's a huge water pipeline that goes I'm
still waiting. As a Northern Californian, I'm still waiting for my reparations.
Can I jump in for 1 second, though? Like,
go ahead.
The government model of this, like, to Lars' point, and I thought Lars did a great job of this, the model never changes, right? So, like, now it's AI data centers, and, a few years ago, it was Amazon factories or distribution centers or whatever. And then before that, it was, airports. And then before that, it was meat packing plants. And so like the mechanics of it never change. And it's just like, what's the latest government grift, right? So I think that's like what Lars was saying is, the grift never changes. They're just like, what's the latest and greatest? How do we con people into thinking the schools are going to be better and more people are going to have jobs and property value is going to go up? And like, what's the whole, like the whole body of the grift on that?
Yeah.
Well, that could be a perfect segue because I think we got about 25 minutes left before Free and Tubb start falling asleep on us because they're boomers.
Yeah,
That's true.
But the flock cameras, to me, are the next government grift. And that's another segment that I want to speak to about is how these cameras are going up all over America. And the government is selling data to technocrats.
Yeah.
And the government is accessing your Bluetooth devices via flock cameras and all kinds of other nefarious things that impinge upon your Fourth Amendment. Can we you posted a video today, Lars, about flock off, or what did you say?
Yeah, it was basically they call them flock cameras because they want to control all the sheep. Which we're the sheep.
So it was a scary video.
We're the sheep. The answer to Joe's question is obviously 42. And
Joe Hanush, we appreciate you, brother.
And so like flock cameras. So interesting. Like I saw a thing yesterday, and I don't know if it was China or Singapore or something, and they've trained their flock cameras to essentially, the one of the things that flock cameras do is they're able to scan every single license plate that there is, right? And they sell it to us under the guise of, well, we need to be able to do that so that when a child is abducted, we can quickly find the abductor by looking at the license plate, and then we can send the police right there and like save the child's life. And that's why we should all be surveilled, because we need to save the children. What about the children, you guys? You don't care about the children? You don't love the children? What the
We lose a lot of freedom in the name of safety.
What kind of people are you that you don't love the children? And so in this whatever state that they were in, the thing was essentially able to mathematically predict your speed based on the how fast the camera was moving for the flock camera, right? And then it has your license plate. So it was literally just dishing out speeding tickets like nonstop, like everybody. And it has no, when you get pulled over by a cop, it's sort of at their discretion whether they want to like give, like whether they're having a bad day or not, or whether they need to make the revenue numbers. That determines whether you're going to get the ticket that day or not. But the AI doesn't care. It's like, oh, you were 0.6 tenths of a mile over the speed limit, ticket. Right. And so whatever this place was, they were all up in arms because literally they handed out like 500 cars went by and 375 of them got a ticket. Right.
Well, because
that's why Tubb drives 32 with his left turn signal on.
See, this is how sometimes people come on and just say stuff.
Oh man,
they just say things. so
the comments are fantastic right now. By the way,
think about what you just said though. Is because, all right, if you get pulled over, for example, like how many of us, if I see a cop already has somebody pulled over, well, I'm kind of free to go. He's busy. And if it's a camera, no, it's not. It's the next one to the next one to the next one.
No, and it is the surveillance state. I mean, that is what we're talking about here, is that all of your activities will be monitored. I listened to this podcast and I was like, they said something that made my libertarian ears kind of just burn and like seethe. And they basically said, look, privacy is already dead. Yeah. Like we've already given up our privacy, and like for you to think that we have any privacy at all is you're kidding yourself, basically. Like if you're carrying around a phone on you, you have given up your privacy 100%. Unless you have one of these, like, and like very few people do this. There's a woman, Naomi Blackwell.
Blackwell, yeah.
Naomi Blackwell. She is like a privacy expert, and she does speeches on privacy. I listened to her. She talked at the California.
She'll be at Freedom Fest too with us.
She is absolutely amazing. I donated to her foundation. She's got a nonprofit, and I just thought her message was so good that I wanted to have her share it with more people, right? Like things that you could do as a citizen that are easy to basically get a little more privacy in your life, right? So and so like she suggests Proton Mail and Proton VPN and like Brave browser or DuckDuckGo or these things, using Signal instead of Messenger or your your Apple Chat, or using these little bit better privacy tools. But the reality of it is, in the digital age that we live in, everything is monitored. I had in California, if you have a corporation, even if the corporation is incorporated in another state, you have to pay $900 a year incorporation fee. Like they just take $900 every year, no matter what. If your company makes no money, $900. And so I always forget to pay the stupid thing because I'm like it's just noise, and I don't want to be bothered with it. And so one day my bank account was overdrawn on a corporation that is kind of defunct-ish, and I'm not really doing much with it, so I don't leave a lot of money in the account. And it got overdrawn, and I'm like, what the hell? And so I went in there, and the government had like overdrawn the account. They had just like drained every penny that was in the account, and I'm like, they didn't even send me a letter like demanding the money. They just were like, you owe us money, we're taking the money, and I was like, how do they know where this bank, like I've never transacted anything with the government with this bank account. Oh, that's right, I have a social security number. A social security number means you have no privacy, because everything that you do, every bank account that you've opened, unless you're using Bitcoin and transacting off-chain, Xano, whatever privacy tokens you're using. But let's face it, like I'd love a world where we were all doing that, but the adoption rate hasn't been awesome for crypto. We've been going out, like I first got into crypto in 2017, and we were all excited because this was going to be the thing that gave us privacy. And so far, I haven't found anything that's so compelling that everybody's using it, right? I hope that's the case. I hope we get something like that. That would be amazing. And I do back privacy coins. I do back people using crypto. I think we should definitely do that. But it's hard to. So interestingly, let's give you this one more little detail. There was a woman that I met from Canada, and she wanted to buy stuff in America on a credit card. And she, I don't know if she lost her credit card or what exactly happened, but I said, well, why don't you just go to Citibank and get a credit card? And she's like, well, I can't. And I said, well, why can't you just go to the bank and get a credit card? She's like, I'm a Canadian citizen. I'm like, so, like, go to the bank and get a credit card. What I don't understand. What's the problem? Oh, you can't open a bank account without a social security number. Oh,
that's true.
You're not getting a social security number if you're a Canadian citizen. Oh, interesting, right? So basically, every American that has a social security number has basically given up their privacy. Well, and if you want to participate, go ahead.
Have you checked out Zbec? ZEBEC.io. You can fund a debit card with a bunch of different crypto, but Xano, Freedom Dollar. So it's completely it's KYC, but they don't check your details. So you could put Elmer Fudd and
what is it again?
ZEBEC.io.
Well, that's the thing, because I just read an article. Who owes me 50? Yeah. But the thing with Signal
my Xano is game show. If you're interested, my Xano's game show.
All right.
I don't know if you guys looked into this, but Signal was used to convict Enrique Tarrio.
Yeah, Telegram.
They-
Telegram. Not Signal.
Telegram and Signal, because I just read an article this week about how the government has the encryption code to Signal. There's nothing that is electronic that the government does not have access to. That's
I don't
the
think
one
they have
thing.
Telegram though. I think Telegram's the last man standing on this one.
They used their so-called encrypted chats against them.
I think that was Signal. I don't think that was Telegram though.
I mean, that is interesting, and like that is, that's one of the big concerns, obviously, in crypto right now. And with I don't know if have you guys been following this whole Mythos, the new LLM out of Anthropic, and the government shut it down.
They shut down two of them, right? Like because it was Mythos. It was the last two.
Yeah, it was the same model that they first said they weren't going to release it because it was too powerful, and the government said you can't release this because it literally is so powerful that it can crack our government agency databases and encryption. So don't release this, because if you do, China will immediately use it to like raid us, basically, right?
Yeah.
And so they didn't release it for a few weeks or whatever, and then they supposedly put some some guardrails on it, and then they put it out for 1 or 2 days, and then Amazon said, "Hey, you guys, this thing is not guardrailed enough," and we're able to do the thing. And what's interesting is like the LLM has gotten so powerful that you can now tell it, "Make me my own LLM." Like reverse engineer yourself and give me a version of you that I can do on my own thing. And so the Chinese and the other governments are like, "Oh, cool, we can just like steal this and use it to create a version for us, and we don't have to spend the billions and trillions of dollars on it." And so we've reached a certain point in AI where it's so powerful, and you have quantum computing coming, and quantum computing can basically crack any security, any cryptography in seconds. And that's one of the big issues with crypto right now, is because this cryptography could be broken, and then then they can just basically steal everything, because the whole thing is encoded with cryptography. So
I did a show like 3 or 4 years ago. About 85% of all government networks were like the highest level of vulnerable to cyber hacking. And like, I mean, so
not surprising.
Like literally, I could probably like hack it with like my Fitbit at this point. Like, let alone like a sophisticated new LLM.
That's
and
right.
So you could hack our energy grid or whatever it is. Like you could probably do that like with like a Seiko calculator or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the idea of like locking it down for a little bit was to allow the government agencies to like fix their crap. The problem is that government agencies are still literally running on COBOL.
Yeah.
They're literally
never fix anything.
Because I mean, why would they? They have no incentive to be better, perform better, or do anything better because it's government and it sucks ass, basically.
It's so funny. I get like so much back about like my MAGA followers. Well, it's because I was doing shows during Biden's administration, pointing out this shit. And like I got all these like MAGA followers, and then they're like, then the changing of the guard, it's still the same problems, and I'm still talking about the same things. But like now, like the libertarians are like, "You're MAGA" or whatever. I'm like, like I was just talking shit about Biden at the right time.
I was talking yesterday. I want to get a shirt that says MAGA libtard on it. People would be like, what? I mean, you'd get all kinds of flack for that. Like everybody would just be yelling at you, because they'd be like, "Are you calling libtards MAGA, or are they MAGA what are you doing right now?" I'm making fun of you, bro.
You would for sure get groped at the airport.
The groypers would get me.
Tub, you posted about flock cameras today. What's your take on it?
I don't think I run any different line than the libertarians do as far as flock cameras go. But here's the issue: are we too far gone? Like, is there like guys? It's here and
yes, we're too far gone, because it's not just flock cameras. Think about like I have 10 cameras on my house that that are like whatever, Ring cameras or Nest cameras or whatever, and everybody's got a doorbell cam and this cam. All that stuff is hackable. Did you guys see that that the U.S. government put out a thing about 2 or 3 months ago that said that they no longer were going to allow, that we're going to use the export controls to basically make it so most router companies can no longer sell their routers in the United States. Like if you make a router from China or Singapore or wherever, you can no longer sell it in the United States because they realize all those things have chips in them that are backdooring every single American's home is wide open to China to snoop and do whatever they want. And once they get in your network, they can look at every camera you have. And if you think about that, it's like, oh, well, crap, every business has 20 cameras on it. Every Walmart, every Whole Foods, there's cameras inside the buildings, in the ceiling. All that stuff is all on all the time, recording everything. You do not, like I said, we've already lost privacy. And so even if you don't have flock cameras, which are horrible and we should get rid of them, of course, there's still all these private entities that have millions upon billions of cameras that are watching your every move in public. I guess the home is sort of the last bastion. But if you have like a Google Home, or Ask Alexa in your house, or you have your phone, we've all had our phone listen to us and give us ads on Facebook for crap that we never Googled, searched, or anything. We were only talking to our friend about the thing, and suddenly we're getting ads for it. It's clearly listening to us all the time, right? Now, do they use that for nefarious things? No, but can the government come in and listen to your crap all the time whenever they want because they get a subpoena to listen to yours? Yes, and we saw it during COVID, where Facebook was like just being told by the U.S. government to turn people off, to censor people, and Facebook was bending the knee, and X was bending the knee and so that is a serious First Amendment, outrage. And has anybody been held accountable for that? Has one government official gone to prison for basically telling a private corporation that, like, you have to censor U.S. citizens because otherwise we're going to use the FCC to shut you down, or we're going to use our power to make your life miserable? No one's even talking about it anymore. And to me, it was one of the biggest abuses of the First Amendment that I've probably seen in my entire life. And
there was a gentleman, and this was out of Jacksonville. His name is Jaleel Richardson. Spent over 50 days in jail because a flock camera misidentified his license plate, and he lost his house and his job. And when an American loses those two things,
that's right.
What else is there to lose?
Well, that's when you go full killdozer.
Yeah.
Average men do crazy shit, right?
Every one of our episodes should have a Killdozer reference, in all honesty. Every single one.
Well, the problem with what happened to Jaleel Richardson is Americans when I posted about the flock cameras in my local group here in Southern California, they're like, well, if it helps solve a property crime, then I'm all for it. I was like, you people don't know the percentage of property crime resolution rates. It is next to 0%.
Yeah.
When your stuff gets stolen, most of the time you're not getting it back.
You're not getting it back, bro. No.
Yeah.
No.
And if that's your logic, if you think that's going to improve the rate, you are stupider than the public education system meant you to be.
It's for your protection, bro. Come on now.
A little while back, so we had Ring cameras for years. We had specifically Ring cameras. And a little while back, it's been a few months now, they sent out that notice saying it's the lost dog thing that they were using. And so what they were saying, somebody could get in there and say, hey, I lost my dog. And in doing that, Ring was then accessing any of the cameras in that area to go, oh, there was a stray dog here. And it could have been your dog. And like, oh, see, and I'm like, and I remember, and this was very telling of the issue. So when it happened, I go, that's it, I'm done with Ring. I told my wife, I said, nope, we're done. We're not getting into this, because you couldn't you could turn it off, but they're still doing it. And so I said, we're done with Ring. And my wife goes, well, what difference does it make? And to be honest with you, my wife's thinking about that is what so many people go. They're just like, and not thinking about what that leads to, and then at the fact that at any point they could go, oh, we're just looking for a dog,
because of friction. Like when there's friction, people will opt to give up their privacy to avoid friction, right? That's the real of it, right? And so, and interestingly, like when these home cameras first came out, I was like, I want to build a system that is not connected to any cloud service. I want it to like basically talk to me and show up on my computer, and like no one else can like get to it or look at it or any of that kind of stuff. And when I first started looking, you could buy some cameras that you didn't have to pay a monthly subscription, and you didn't have to send it to the cloud. It just went to your own local thing. Mm-hmm. And then the companies figured out, like, we can sell a monthly subscription for this service, and we'll just stop selling these do-it-yourself ones that can allow the person to have their own autonomy, right? And we'll make a crap pile more money, and we'll put all the ones out of business that are doing the do-it-yourself because they won't be able to compete. And so essentially, the competition basically crushed all the do-it-yourself privacy concern cameras, and they don't exist anymore. I mean, I'm sure somebody in the chat will be like, "No, Lars, there's this thing that you can buy," and I'll be like, "Excellent, I want it."
I've been working on a joke for my show about like buying a kit where you can take all the surveillance you're under, like whether it's in your own home or the flock cameras or whatever, and then live stream that to make like 12 cents a month on X. And, so I might debut it tomorrow. It's still a little rough, but I'm working on it. So,
Are you sure that's going to be ready by tomorrow?
I don't know. I got sidetracked tonight with you guys.
Sorry about all that too.
So as we start to wrap this episode up, I think this is one of the most informative episodes we've ever had. I'm going to pass the mic to Tub for his, no. Okay, no. Free, no. I'm gonna pass the mic. Is that your Tub impression?
The Leah Thomas.
Oh,
the Tub backstroke.
Hey, you know what's so funny about that? I don't even know how to swim.
These guys
wait, that's why are you still in my culture?
Because of all the things.
Oh my God.
Well, the thing is, I have a job. I knew my dad, so I can't steal those things.
Wow.
I was just joking around.
I didn't know it was going to be that kind of party. He's like pulling out the daggers.
And then Tub breaks out the steroids. And
dude, he's like, go for the jugular.
Tub, go ahead with your last question.
Listen, I'll make this quick because this is getting almost to the level of Free show. It's time to be done with this. So first of all, Free, I don't like to say it because you pretty much anything that anybody throws at you, you kind of deserve it because that's who you are. But I do thank you for coming in and doing your little part of trying to make this something that's worth doing. Lars, dude, thanks a lot, man. Not just for lunch, but thanks a lot for because in all honesty, I think that I even put it in our group text with Eric and Marcus and I said, listen, I want to have this conversation about the data centers. And I specifically said, I think I want Lars on there because he says, like, he's out there and he's informed and he knows what it's about. And I said, and I trust him. I said, so I kind of want Lars on there. Now, I did say, hey, it'd be nice if we could have somebody kind of from the other side, because your argument is usually one of, it's not about privacy. It's not about all, what I'm saying? Like libertarians, they usually always say, they're stealing our privacy. And I said before the show, they're doing that anyway. They don't need these cameras for it. And I didn't think the environmental impact thing was the real argument either, to be honest with you. It just never seemed right. And so I actually did specifically say, hey, maybe we can get Lars to kind of come in and sound off on this. And because, like I said, I'm the idiot as far as these go. And you find all the same talking points. If you go to this side, you hear the same thing. You go over there, you hear the same thing. And so I was like, maybe we can get in there and kind of, I can learn some stuff about these things. Now, did the two of you, which Marcus should have been your world because this supposedly is tech bros, the two of you went into areas I'm like, okay, I'm out on this one. You went past where I belong. And so, but thank you for the idea that I was able to kind of get stuff and go, okay, now I know better, and I can still say I sit on the side of Lars on this one. Okay?
Nice.
That's a good spot.
Nice. I appreciate that. It's like you know, in the grand scheme of things, one of the things that I've been telling people is, you know, there's a lot of people saying we need to get rid of AI. We need to make AI go away. It's bad. It's, you know, they're for so many different reasons. But I'm of the exact opposite mind. I think that America should basically embrace AI like we did the space race. AI has the ability right now to eradicate most disease in the world. And I'm talking about heart disease and cancer and Alzheimer's and diabetes and like all the things that ail us. I believe AI is going to cure, and not in the long future, like relatively short, within my lifetime, these things will be cured. And the longer we delay AI, is literally means people are going to die. So it's kind of like the whole, remember when they were like trying to sell healthcare and they were like, if you don't pass this healthcare thing, you're killing people, the death panels or whatever. So I think that if we slow down AI, we're literally killing people, and that we should be going in the opposite direction of it, because not only that, but all the other things that people are talking about. I believe AI is going to cut healthcare costs from 5 trillion to 1 trillion in America. It is going to allow us to basically vastly cut the spending that's going on in America by government spending. I believe that it is going to reduce the cost of housing. I believe that it's going to be deflationary and the price of a lot of things are going to drop dramatically. I can go on and on and on, but I'm very optimistic about the future. My AI future is Star Trek, not Terminator. And one of my missions is to basically try to spread an optimistic view of AI, because we're hearing a lot of really bad bad things about AI, and there's a lot of dystopian stuff out there. But I actually believe, and I believe that's our duty to steer this in that direction, because if we all focus on the dystopian outcome, the crappy outcome that could be bad from AI, that's probably what will happen. But if we steer it and we're all focused on using AI to create a better humanity and lift everybody up, lift everyone out of poverty, give abundance to everyone, and solve so many of the issues that everybody on the left and the right are complaining about, I believe that this is the vehicle to do that, and we should actually be leaning into it and not slowing it down.
All right. Free.
Yeah, no, I had such a good time tonight, and don't do a clip of this or a short of this or whatever, but like I'm such huge fans of all three of you, and I actually love that the internet can't figure out whether me and Marcus or me and Tub are friends, and that just delights me to no end. But Lars in particular is on my Mount Rushmore of the Liberty movement. I think you're the guy that's like 5 years, 10 years, so far ahead of all of us. And you have such great ideas. The only feedback I give you is I think you need to be a little bit more obnoxious and pound on desks or something, because like you need to wake people up. And I agree. You're so far ahead of everybody else out there. And so many people are like watching Fox or MSNBC or whatever it is. And we need somebody like you, like, shouting and punching it through the screen. And, but like, this was such a good time. I thought we covered so much good stuff. And like, I think, you saw it in the chat. There were so many people that were like, well, what about this? And like, I heard this. And I think there's so much out there. And we need to be like, as libertarians, we need to be like straight on with our messaging and just like deliver, fastballs down the middle of like, all right, AI, what are we doing? Data centers, what are we doing? Like, how do we reclaim this and keep freedom? So Ryan wrote, "Be my donor class and help me help promote this message." That's so good. Oh my god, that was Woodcraft doesn't believe in crypto. Just throwing that out there. So good. Oh my god.
if I'm the libertarian Jim Cramer, then everything I say will be contrarian, and everybody will have to do exactly the opposite of whatever.
No, you don't have
Yeah,
to be
think of the memes, though. Think of the memes.
You don't have to be as obnoxious as Marcus. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, I'm doing my tongue now.
I said what I said.
I should. Somebody, I think it was D pointed out. I should talk quickly about ballots without barriers, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So essentially, I ran for president. I knew the system was rigged. I didn't realize how bad the system was rigged. I've come to understand that essentially we have no competition in American politics. It's completely shut. The door is completely shut on it. If we ever want to have any change at all, and we have to create competition in our politics. If we don't create competition in our politics, then the outcome of that is going to be political violence. Because when people are not heard and when people don't feel represented, there's only one other option for them, and that is to lash out. And I believe that we saw that during the Black Lives Matter riots, and we saw that during the January 6th. It doesn't matter if you're right or you're left. You don't feel like you're being heard by your politicians because you're not. and that you're even if you elect the left and the right, you're not being heard and you're not being represented. And so we need competition. I'm a capitalist. I'm a free markets guy. I believe that competition breeds excellence. The government has no competition, so it breeds mediocrity. And we need to bring back the competitive spirit that made America what it was from the founding of our core, which was like, come here. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, whether you have money or don't have money. If you put in the hard work and the effort, you can rise up and be whatever you want to be, as long as you can put in the effort and the energy. And you'll hear a lot of people say that isn't possible anymore. And that is because your government stole that from you.
Yeah.
Your government stole the ability for you to have agency and to be able to work on your own. And they stole that from you by providing free crap to you. Right? If they give you just enough bread and circuses so that you no longer want to have agency over yourself and do the thing, you lose your morality, you lose your purpose in life, and you just become a drone to the government system. And so what Ballots Without Barriers is all about is creating an equal playing field by making the ballot access so that any American who wants to serve our country, as a politician, can have that opportunity. And currently, unless you sign up as an RAD and completely toe the line of what these two private corporations say, then you are kicked out, just like Thomas Massey was, and sent to the curb because you're not towing the line of what the two private corporations that control America say. So Ballots Without Barriers is to break the duopoly stranglehold, create competition so that we don't have political violence. And if you go to ballotswithoutbarriers.com, what it is an activist site. You go there, you put in your address, and it brings up your state representatives. You push a button, and it sends postcards, physical postcards, to your state representatives telling them that you want to change ballot access laws, right? And then tells them where they can find more information that the organization that we have put together gives them legislation that they can pass to make ballot access better. And kind of fix these problems. And then what we do is once one state rep has gotten 10 or 12 of these, we call up that state rep and we say, hey, look, Deborah and Ben and Bob and John all want this thing. They all sent you postcards. And we know that constituents in your area want this. And if you don't put this forward, we're going to basically get you primaried and we're going to vote against you. And so we're going to use that power of activism. And if we get enough people to go to Ballots Without Barriers and just do this simple 30-second act of activism, it's the easiest thing you could possibly do. I think we can change ballot access laws in states. We're already seeing that we have been effective in several states of pushing the needle and getting bills in front of the House chambers to vote on. We haven't gotten anything passed yet, But that is the goal of this organization, is to literally change ballot access laws. And for libertarians, it's super important because we spend, as a party in all the states combined with the national, we spend $1 million a year on ballot access, which is half of the entire budget of the Libertarian Party. We spend half of all the money that donors give us trying to get ballot access, and it doesn't like help us for the next year. We got to go do it again the next year. And so they're literally robbing us of the ability to compete against them. So the whole ballot access thing is a way of suppressing the third largest party in America and keeping it from becoming anything, because they rob us of they take all the oxygen out of the room, right? And so that's what this organization is about, is to like basically break the duopoly. I freaking hate the duopoly. I think it's toxic, disgusting, and they have usurped what the founding fathers built, and it is absolutely disgusting what they have done to America, and I want to see them dismantled completely.
As do I. Before I get to my final comments, I'm going to pass the mic back to Free, because those of you who may not know, Free hosts the Are You Smarter Than a Politician podcast, and it's a very important show for the movement because it gives people a chance to listen to libertarians, because one of the problems with libertarians is other people are defining us, and it's high time we define ourselves. So Free, can you tell us what you got going on tomorrow and possibly next Tuesday? Or
what's going on next Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw them on the grill.
What do you got going on Tuesday?
Yeah.
So tomorrow we've got 3 of my favorite people in the Liberty movement.
All right, I'm gonna cut you off right there.
Yeah, they're right here on the screen with you. I don't know why. You don't need to go anywhere else.
I can have more than 3.
Okay. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Free.
Somebody's got to finish in 3rd place, and there's 2 of you, so that was too many.
Wow.
For the show.
Wow.
So no, but I've got we've talked about solutions tonight. We're going to talk about exiting the system tomorrow and ways to get outside of the system. And we have probably the 3 best people to talk about this, other than Lars. And we've got Aaron Day, Joel Valenzuela, and Sal Mayweather. It's going to be really cool. We're going to talk crypto. We're going to talk about parallel economies. We're going to talk about all that stuff, how to like extract yourself from these centralized booby traps that just keep us as slaves. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then we're doing a fundraiser on Tuesday for Thomas Queter's organization, the Mobility something Foundation.
Yep.
I in there.
Independence. Mobility Independence.
Yeah, I was close. And there was a comment earlier where somebody said something about my Uber driver, which is what I call Thomas Queter. But so we're doing a fundraiser for them. They lost a grant, and that's why we can't depend on the centralized powers, because they're doing amazing work. They're going out there and getting the word out. They've got open source materials that anybody can build any of their systems, and they're getting shut out by the government. So they're out of funds. So we're doing a fundraiser for them on Tuesday, and hope to see you all there. Thanks for letting me plug that.
Yeah,
no worries. I want to give a shout out to Ryan Woodcraft. Are You Smarter Than a Politician? That's Tubbs' favorite show. Everybody knows that.
There was so much wrong in just that one statement. The fact that it came from Ryan Woodcraft was problem number 1.
Woodcraft!
And suggested I even care about that show was just the other bigger problem. So I believe that there are 2 things that should be blocked from the internet overall. It's Ryan Woodcraft and Are You Smarter Than a Politician?
Look at the authoritarian coming out in you. You just found your authoritarianism. Like what?
On a 2-hour show about how Christianity intersects with libertarianism. I feel like I'm on the high ground here, Tub, and I feel like you're just a statist.
Wow.
I'm authoritarian too.
All right, so in my closing comments, Lars referenced Star Trek. And, I'm a Star Wars guy myself. I think Star Wars is superior.
Like all black men are.
As we should be. Lando Calrissian was the pimp of the galaxy. So, we have to stand on that. At any rate, Star Trek: The Next Generation is actually one of my favorite shows to watch. And if you've ever watched it and looked at when they went to advanced civilizations, those civilizations lived a very, very basic life. There was not a shitload of technology or any. They went back to the basics.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going to happen with all of this stuff. There is going to be a acceptance of the technology as we go forward because it's going to make mankind better. But at the same time, mankind is going to go back to its roots and more of a agricultural type of basic homesteading type of view.
We're not taking questions, Tub.
No,
we're past that point of the show.
I'll pass the mic to Tub real quick.
Well, hang on. Can those two things happen at the same time?
Yes.
I feel like that we have to lose the technology completely in order for us to get back to the simple again.
I don't think it really has to happen that
because
way.
I think we're too reliant on the technology part.
Well,
of things.
the technology that I foresee in the future, and I'm pretty sure Lars can agree with this because we're both the real libertarians. It's gonna put us in a place where it's gonna do so much of the manual tasks and everything we have to do as a society, where we can just sit back and truly enjoy.
Yeah, but once you do that, you get to universal basic incomes at that point because nobody's working anywhere. They can't.
Who woke up Tub? What a weird question! What a weird time for the first question of the night. Like
I literally was.
What is going on? Tub, I have to pee. Tub.
I have to pee
just
too,
walk away
and
from
that's
the camera.
why
I do it all the time. I just walk away.
No, but I literally was going to mention UBI in my closing statements because I think we're going to reach that point where we have to have a serious talk about it because there are many, many things that AI and technology are going to take away from mankind that is going to prove to be detrimental to the lower rungs of the economic ladder, so to speak. So that is the discussion we're truly going to have.
Well, we should have that discussion because I've been changing my mind on all that.
Well, that's why I was going to make sure we invite
another show. I was on the side of like all the jobs are going to be lost, and that it's going to be hard to do the thing, and blah blah blah. And I'm actually moving now to we're actually going to have even more work than we've ever had before, and that like we're not going to end up needing UBI.
Sounds like Lars got bought by somebody.
Yes, 100%.
Lars got bought.
Yes.
I don't want to get too much into that because that's another great topic and
100%.
Another show to discuss because there's a lot to it. But with that
Tubbs
being said,
UTI.
Yeah, but Tub is actually AI, and he's actually the AGI superintelligence. He just plays the dumb part on the show, but actually he is the AGI.
Wow. I didn't realize I was
Chris
playing the dumb part.
He came in with the AL, artificial libertarian.
Artificial libertarian.
I want to.
That's fantastic.
As always, I don't always do this, but I want to shout out Joe Hanush because he's our producer, he's our guest coordinator, and he does so much to bring such amazing libertarians to this show. I can't express my gratitude enough. As soon as we start making some money off of this, the first one that gets chipped off is Joe Hanush because we were making money. Then Facebook got mad at a meme I posted 4 years ago.
We'll have UBI before then.
Yeah, we probably will, but we're working on it. We're going in the right direction on this enterprise, and I want to thank Free for subbing for Eric. You're always welcome on here, and anytime you want to come on and say anything, we look at Tub. At any rate, thank you, Tub.
I don't even want him in the comments. Never mind actually having to have him on the show.
But most
Tub would
important,
censor me like Joe Biden would.
But most importantly, I want to thank Lars because Lars is doing the libertarian God's work, so to speak, because he's look at Tub. I knew exactly what I was saying when I said that. But Lars he does more than a lot of other people, including buying tough food because he's
Lars
broke.
might be doing some cute little libertarian stuff, but of this group here, I'm the one doing God's work. Let's be very clear about this. All right.
Well, we'll give you that,
cool,
so to
he's got
speak.
some cool libertarian tech stuff going on, and Free's got some show.
Tub, just because you're closest to the bright light doesn't mean you're doing God's work.
Move towards the light, Tub.
My doing all of this is God's work. Being on that show on Tuesday night was God's work.
But Lars, I can't thank you enough for what you do, because even though you have the means to do what you're doing, it's still, there's a lot of people with the means that aren't doing what you're doing. So thank you very much. And I'm going to leave the last words to you as we wrap this up. Whatever you have to say.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we've said it all. It's every day I'm reminded of just how intrusive and obnoxious not only the federal government, but the state government and the local government and all the governments are, and just how absolutely corrupt and horrific they are. And I'm thinking on this eve of the 250th anniversary of the founding of America, I'm sort of the mind we need a 1776 2.0.
Yeah.
And that, I don't see really any way of fixing this system from within. I'm hopeful that maybe we can, but it's really challenging. And so, I think that this is an interesting thing. Today I heard about the Democrat Socialists of America, who have won multiple places in Congress. They've won multiple places in Congress. Listen to that. They're like three House seats or something like that in New York. I think in New York, but it could be.
It's New York. They won the primaries, which is basically going to put them in office.
Correct. Yeah. Now I want you to hear something. The Democrat Socialists of America has 100,000 members. The Libertarian Party of America has 700,000 registered voters. Okay? And we are 7 times larger than this. Why were they able to get 3 people elected to the House of Representatives, and we have not been able to get people elected to the House? I want to know that, because it is really important. This is a really important question that the party needs to answer.
Yeah.
Why have we not been effective? Because clearly they're effective.
Here's the thing. They use the Democrat Party as their Uber into power.
Yes.
Okay? Because they don't care a lick. They don't care a lick about the Democrat Party. They're going to toss them aside just as soon as they have to. They are simply means to an end for them. And us libertarians, and this is a struggle that I've had and we've had as many of us, is we're so principled. And so you have that argument of, do we just use the Republican Party, for example, to be the means of us getting in?
Yeah.
And we're always like, we can't do that. And we all do. And I've been on both sides of this argument.
Right.
And so we don't use what's in place because we got to do it and I'm just as guilty as anybody else on that one.
Yes. But look, that's what Ballots Without Barriers is all about. That's what Voting Rights Foundation is all about. I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I have never been one, nor shall I ever be one. I will not lower my principles to be like, I'm just going to go along with the thing and bite my tongue to do the thing and be a statist and be part of the oppressive class so that I can get in and try to do crap. We all know what happens when you get in and you try to be principled. You get Thomas Massey. You get kicked out. These guys will go in there and they'll try to do their Democrat socialist thing, and then they're going to meet Nancy Pelosi. And Nancy Pelosi is going to be like, listen, bitches. Yeah. And she's going to smack them upside the head. And then they're going to vote the way she wants them to vote, or they're going to get kicked out the next time. So it's not that they have power, but it is interesting to me that a group that only had 100,000 members was able to get 3 people elected, and we have not yet been able to do that effectively. I think we need to rethink everything about the Libertarian Party and how we're doing stuff, because clearly it's not working, and they know something we don't know, and we need to learn from that.
That's the show we have to have. Now, I know
Precisely.
we have to get ready to go because Free has that enlarged prostate issue, and he's got to go to the bathroom. So
I do too.
We probably need to.
All right. So with that being said, this has been the Black Powder Podcast, and I'm going to leave this to Free tonight to finish this sentence. Live free
or die.
Thank you very much. This has been the Black Powder Podcast, the only real libertarian podcast that has ever existed. Thank you. Please share this episode. I know it was a little bit longer than we normally go, but it was one of the most informative episodes that you could ever watch. Peace, one love. Gentlemen, I also have to relieve my bladder, so I am exiting post haste. So
thank you, guys.
Thank you.